Do you want to get more subscribers to your email list? How about highly targeted subscribers? I'm going to give you 16 proven ways to do it in this video. Let's get going here. So obviously, email subscribers are the lifeblood of your business. Here are 16 ways to get more of them. Pay special attention to numbers 8, 15, and 16. The first one, this is really, really powerful. When people come to your website, they're interested in what it is that you have to say. They've searched oftentimes to get there, or they've come from some kind of link. Give them an exit pop-up. So what's an exit pop-up? Basically, it's a tool that allows that when they move their cursor off the page to go to their back button, to go up and put in a new URL, it fires, it puts up a pop-up on the page. Now, that exit pop-up should offer one, more about what they've just been reading, or a totally different offer that they really want. Now, some people say, wait just a minute, I hate pop-ups. I don't want to use pop-ups because I hate pop-ups. Well, number one, they're already leaving your site, so this is a great time to do it without ticking them off too much. And number two, they've already shown interest in what it is that you offer, and so why not at least give them the chance to opt in? Just make sure that you use technology so they only see this once per session when they come to your site, ideally once per month. Make sure you're using that technology so that you don't see it every single time they go up and try to do some kind of navigational thing. All right, so exit pop-up. Number two, add an opt-in offer to all of your content. So you're writing blog posts, you're writing articles, you're writing these different pieces of content. Think about this strategy as running a banner ad, but on your own articles. So you're not putting it out on somebody else's site. You're running it on your own site, offering people the ability to opt in to get something, but you're running that on the article on your own site that they're on. So this is not just a text-based offer. So, hey, if you'd like some more information about this, click here. That's not what this is. This is ideally a graphic ad, nicely designed, beautiful, brand colors, brand look, all those kinds of things. And it's best if this offer is for more of what they are reading on that page. So this page talks about this. What we're doing is we're then giving them more information on that, or a worksheet, or a video that teaches them something. Whatever it is, it's more of what that page is about. The more that offer applies to what they're talking about on the page, the more success you will tend to have. Now, you, by the way, can put more than one of these on a page. So let's say 4 paragraphs down, you put an offer for them to get something that applies to that page. And then maybe all the way at the bottom, you put another one. They've just finished reading. They're quite happy. You put another one at the bottom. And just a little hint, if I was going to do that, put more than one offer for the same opt-in on the page, I would avoid what is called banner blindness, which is when people stop seeing the ad because they've seen it before. I would do a separate piece of artwork that also offers the exact same offer. What ends up happening is you significantly increase by 15, 20% the probability of getting an opt-in by putting 2 separate ads for the same thing on the same page, as long as they're different graphics. Okay? All right. But if you don't want to do that, you can also have another one for a generic offer. So maybe at the top of the page, you got something for more information about this particular subject. Down the bottom, you have a generic, your main go-to opt-in offer for your site. It's not as good, but it works. And by the way, so a lot of people say, well, how am I going to do this? This sounds like a lot of work. You can do this by hand. So it's very easy. You just go into your WordPress and you say, okay, 4 paragraphs down, this is a good place to do it. And you insert a new image, and then you link that image to your opt-in page. Okay, it's literally that simple. Or you can use ad serving plugin to do it for you automatically. The advantage of an ad serving plugin is that you can do things like create 5 different versions of each ad, and it will automatically rotate through them to test and show you which one is doing best of that. A wonderful way to run a split test without a lot of effort if you have one of these ad serving kinds of software. before. And there's lots of other advantages that come from that. You can put up affiliate ads. You can bring in other ads from other sites. You can do lots of things with that when you decide to do that. Or if you want to just keep it simple, just go in and it's like, hey, this looks like a good place to put it. Insert, put a picture in, drop that banner ad in, and link that to your opt-in page. All right. Number 3. Close every article with an opt-in offer. So I've already sort of discussed this before, basically offering them more info on what they're reading. It can be either a graphical ad or a text ad. Should be tested. It probably will fail unless your graphics are really ugly. So here they've just read this whole article. They're quite happy with you at that moment. Give them the ability to opt in to something else, whether that is more information on that subject or a more generic one for what it is you offer. All right. Number 4, use a 2-step opt-in process. All right. So what happens when you are going through a website and you see an opt-in box? You know, hey, here's this, get this, here, give me your name, give me your email. You tend to avoid it. Well, what if instead of doing that, you come down and you just have, hey, get this, click the button. When they click the button, here's what ends up happening. They click that button to get it, and that pops up a request for their name and email. What ends up happening is we find that you'll probably get between 8 to 15 to 20% higher opt-ins when you do it this way, when you do that button, and then that pops up the form that asks them just for their email address, for their name and email address. Why? Well, I don't tend to do why on tests because oftentimes you'll get totally the wrong answer. But we believe it's more approachable when you do that. It seems like less of a request from them. Hey, it's going to take you about 20 minutes to figure out how to do this. Spend that 20 minutes because it's well worth it. You're going to get those significantly higher opt-in rates as a result. Number 5, never ask for more than their name and email to get opt-in to receive whatever it is that you have to do. Now, there are a lot of companies will do things like, well, I only want my salesperson to talk to companies that are making over $10 million a year, and it has to be the sales vice president who wants to get this, and they have to be in Southern Florida. And so they put like 5 different things in their form. You don't want to do that. You want to put no more than name and email address. Okay. Now, some people argue you should just put email address, don't even put the name. But my studies consistently show that I get higher buy rates down the road from people who have given both their email address and their name. Okay. So if you just look at pure conversion, in other words, what percentage of people opt in, email only will win every time. Virtually every time. But if you look down the road, hey, what percentage of the people who opt in actually buy $1,000 or more worth from me over the next year? What I have found is the people who are willing, who give me both their name and their email have a significantly higher buy rate. And so I just put both name and email on there. Okay. Now, if you need and want more email, so your sales department really wants that, do that portion of it as a separate request. So you can either do this on your thank you page. So their opt-in page is, hey, give me your name and email. And then the thank you page says, hey, would like a little bit more information about you, company size, those other questions that they do. And then when they click that, it just adds that to their record. Or you can do an email survey. So in your initial set of emails that you're sending out to somebody, maybe email 3 or 4, you say, hey, we'd like to know a little bit more about you, and ask them those questions. And then that adds that information onto their email record. In other words, you're accomplishing the same thing. You're just not slaughtering your opt-in rates to do so. All right. Number 6. Obviously, you should be running opt-in offers in your social media. Now, I say that's obvious, but apparently to most of us, it's not. And so it's as simple as, hey, here's this thing. Would you like it? And you send them off to a landing page. To get it on the landing page, they need to opt in to get it. lots and lots of people have these large social media followings and very small lists. But that social media following, number one, oftentimes goes away because it's under the control of other people. And number two, more importantly, people buy more once they get on your email list, and you've got more control of them once they get on your email list. You want to get them off of social media onto your own email list. You can still support them on social media. You can still send them all the things you send to social media, but you want to have an email address so that you can communicate with them in more of a buying kind of situation. All right. Number 8, you may not want to do this. Consider adding what we call a gate to your content. So we're starting to see this more and more, where you'll click on something, it takes you to a page, it's got like 4 paragraphs, and then the rest of it's blurred down at the bottom, and there's this little notification that says, hey, if you want to read this, give me your email address to sign up for this thing. Then that opens up the rest of the page. None of us like them, but they work. And so, in other words, they have to opt in to see the rest of the content. I suggest, if you're going to do it, number 1, test it. Number 2, make sure you give them value in those 4 or 5 paragraphs before the gate so that they are considering it worthwhile to give your email address to go beyond that. For me personally, I choose not to do this. And the reason why is because I feel like I'm holding a hostage. Hey, you want this? You got to give me your email address. It's sort of the same, though, as if you put an ad in your thing to get more information on this subject, but one of them feels slimy and dirty. The other one doesn't. Okay. Number 8, remember when I told you that I was going to give you that there are 3 of these that are really, really important? This is one of them. Okay. Number 8. And by the way, I think I might have actually given you 2 versions of number 8. I did. So ignore this number 8. Pay attention to this number 8. Okay. Test. I can't count apparently. Test your landing pages. So testing your landing pages, absolutely essential if you want to increase your conversion rate. So your testing priority, I'll tell you what is the most important thing to test. The things that give you the highest increase in conversion rate. Number 1 is your headline. Headlines, some big number. I was going to say 80%, realized I don't know that for an absolute fact, but it's somewhere around 60, 70, 80% of the results you're going to get from testing on a landing page are going to come from testing your headline. Then your subhead. What else are you offering? So here's the headline, then a subhead, and then a description of what is in the product that you're giving them. Okay. Then button copy. Oftentimes that button copy has more effect than we think it will, but it's certainly not the first thing to test. Then the picture of what they'll receive. So there's different ways to do those pictures. You can do just a flat picture, just showing the cover. You can make it look like a book, but if it's going to be a 5-page report, don't you dare making it look like a 50 or 150-page report. Don't do that. Or you can make it look like a piece of paper in 3D that comes out. There's different ways to do that, and some of them will test better than others, and you never know until you actually test. And so that picture, what they will receive, is an important thing to test. Next, a privacy statement down below, just below the opt-in button. I like to use, we respect your privacy, link our privacy policy. And that right there tends to do really, really well. You probably don't even need to test that. Just start adding that and then test it without it and see how that goes. Now, the number one thing that I see people talk about all the time, it's the last priority of this whole thing, is button color. I don't know why everyone's so obsessed with button color, other than it's almost a must that button color is uglified on the page. In other words, it's an ugly color that doesn't match everything else on the page. You want it to stand out. You want it to be ugly. So make sure it is. But you can test that as you go through it, but this is the priority. Headline all the way down to button color. All right. And in a minute, I'm going to talk about the other kinds of things that oftentimes show up on the pages and how to test those. Okay. So every time you get a winner in this process, start immediately testing something else. So, hey, I got a winner. This headline beat that headline. Amazing. Now let's start testing this subhead. And then you just go through that, and you go through that process, and you're constantly testing. You should never have a landing page out there that is not being tested at that moment. Really important. Okay. And by the way, we talk about only change one variable at a time, and that is absolutely true. But every once in a while, rework the whole page from scratch. Just get a different artist. Think about it differently. Do it in a different color. Make everything be changed from scratch, and just test that version against your control, the best performing one elsewhere. Every once in a while, you'll knock it out of the ballpark with a brand new page reworked from scratch. Not very often, but every once in a while you will. It's worth testing it just to make sure, because sometimes that totally different look outperforms. All right. Number 9, which is actually number 10, but number 9, create multiple lead magnets. So this thing that we've gotten into in our industry where we think that you do one lead magnet and that's going to make you a fortune. No, it's not. You're probably never going to guess right on your first lead magnet that you're going to create. So create multiple of them, like 30 of them. Okay. Now it's not, no one offer of a lead magnet is going to work for everyone out there. There are different needs and interests and timing with different people. So different lead magnets attract people that the other ones won't. I could go on and explain it, but why? Just do things from different angles. Talk about different things. Talk about different things in different ways, and you'll get more people as a result. Okay. Number 10, create different lead pages for the same lead magnet. So oftentimes in a lead magnet, that's the thing you're giving them in exchange for their email address. You're going to make like 5 points or 3 points or whatever. And so one of them focuses on this one point or this one benefit of it. Well, almost everything has more than one benefit, has more than one point. And so just take the exact same lead magnet and this time emphasize something else. So each one of these is designed to attract those in your niche who have different hot buttons. Those hot buttons will drive different people at different times, and then run ads to each of them and see how it works. Realize you're not looking here just for conversion. You're also looking for incremental number of people added. There are people who will opt into every offer that you give them, every lead page, every lead magnet you give them, they will opt into. So what you're looking for is what offer gets me a different group of people, still highly targeted, still within my niche, but it's a different group of people. What gives me the most incremental signups? All right. Number 11, remove distractions so that you point people at your opt-in offer. So one of the things that ends up happening is people end up, especially, let's take a blog post, for example. So many people will take that sidebar on the blog and fill it up with all the things you can possibly fill it up for. And so what ends up happening is your blog article's got a search bar on it. By the way, very few people actually use search bars on sites anymore. Just get rid of it. Social media icons. You don't need to remind people that you're on social media. It's assumed that you are. You can probably get rid of it or bury it all the way down the bottom of your sidebar. Share this icons. Almost nobody is using them anymore, and you would be amazed at what the share this icon. So the ones that show up on the side of the page that says, hey, share this on LinkedIn, share this on Facebook, share this on things. That oftentimes just to load those, because it's got to go out to LinkedIn and figure out how many people have shared it, and it'll come back with 14, and go out to Facebook and it comes back with 110, and it does that. By the time it's done all that, loaded that, it's oftentimes 5 to 8 seconds, which kills your page speed. Nobody's using it anymore, and it kills your page speed. Get rid of it. Just kick out the share. Just go into, if I could get you to do anything as a result of this recording, it would be as soon as you're done with this recording, go out to your WordPress and kill your share this icon, share this plugin. It'll help you immeasurably. Okay. Another one. People loved several years ago, hey, let's put our Instagram feed. And so you'd read down and off to the side. I had this too. Here's my Instagram feed with all the different posts that I've got shown there. That, number one, takes forever to load. Number two, adds almost nothing. And number three, is a huge distraction, and it hurts your opt-in rates. And this last one is one that I struggled with as I wrote it. I'm not sure I 100% agree that this is right for every one of you, but I will tell you, for some of us, getting rid of related posts, the little plugin that shows up at the bottom and shows here's the related post to this, can kill your opt-in rates. So you need to decide, what's my priority? Is it high? Is it getting more people to go to more pages on my blog, or is it to get my opt-ins? You have to decide and make a decision based on that. Okay. Number 12, another distraction, no navigation on your landing page. So in other words, you cannot just create a standard WordPress page to become your opt-in page. Because when you do that, it's going to have nav on it. Your navigation to, your blog and all those different things on that distraction will hurt your conversion. And so you need to get, very frankly, you ought to buy a program that enables you to add pages that don't have navigation on it. In other words, what you want is a program that gives you templates and a program that gives you the ability to use a white page and build from there with nothing else on it. No nav, nothing else. Okay. All right. Number 13 is big. I should have put this one on the list of important ones to pay attention to. Number 13, use problem-based headlines. So there's a whole bunch of people out there who have bought into the, I want to keep things positive. I want to only talk about how we're going to change your life for the better. Well, that's great. I want you to talk about how you're going to change people's lives for the better. Just don't do it in your headlines. Problem headlines almost always outpull what I call happy headlines. The transformation. Hey, now you can be living on the beach. That kind of thing. That doesn't tend to, I can, anytime I see a happy headline, I immediately rewrite it in my mind as a problem headline. And if I give it to somebody and they go implement it, it'll almost always outpull their happy headline. So just the headline needs to be about them and about their problem, saying, do you have this? Here's how you solve it. Now, realize if you're in certain categories, health, political, sexual, things like that are associated with Facebook, and you're running Facebook ads, you have to be very careful what that headline looks like on that page, because it will cause your ad to get shut down. But almost always, if you're in any other category, and even in those categories, you can use a problem-based headline and it'll outpull a happy headline. Okay. Number 14, show a picture of what they're opting in to receive. So here's this report. Well, take a picture of the cover and put it up there. What ends up happening is this almost always outpulls the aspirational picture. So about 8 years ago, there was a trend that went around of showing somebody sitting on a beach, kicked back in their lounge chair with their feet up, and here's this drink with a little umbrella beside it down there. And that became the background that almost everyone used on almost every landing page. And you know what? It worked for about 4 months, 8 years ago. It no longer works. What works better is to give them a picture of what they're opting in to receive. So they see it and they go, oh, that's what I'm getting? Okay, I'm interested in that, which means you have to design the cover for your opt-in incentive to look fairly nice and then put it up there. Okay, number 15. Now, this is one of the three that are important. Your opt-in button must be above the fold on mobile. What it means is it has to show up on a mobile phone before someone would have to scroll to get to it. If that is below the fold, if someone has to scroll to get it, you will kill your conversion rate on that thing by 50 to 70%. It's astounding how bad it hurts you. And the problem is almost no one ever does that. I always design my opt-in pages first for mobile. And then I go make it work on the desktop. Why? Because 60 to 80% of almost every site's traffic, unless you're really heavy B2B or really heavy something like construction work or something like that, it's going to be most of it's going to be mobile. And so it's got to work there. Now, this is another reason that you want to use a page building program. And what you got to do is, again, spend 20 minutes. It takes 20 minutes to figure it out, but once you figure it out, so basically what you're going to do is you're going to have there in your page builder, there'll be a little icon, usually down in the bottom left-hand corner, that'll have a picture of a mobile phone, a picture of a desktop, a picture of a tablet, usually desktop, tablet, mobile phone. Click on the mobile phone, build it there so it works, so it fits on the page, and then click on the desktop, and then what you do is you adjust it to there. So let's just reverse this. So let's say you've designed it first for desktop, and now you want to make sure that it's going to work on the mobile phone. So what you do is you click the mobile phone button, and you're going to have to make some adjustments to that page to make it work. So you may have to adjust what order things are showing up on. So in one, on the desktop, you got a headline, you got a subheadline, you got a picture of the product. I'll do it for you. A picture of the product, and then a description, and then a button, and then a privacy assurance here. And so you look at all that, and it works great on a desktop, but as soon as you look on a mobile, it's like, wait a minute, what's that doing at the top? So oftentimes your picture's at the very top, and your picture will take up more than half the screen. And you go, that's not that important. So what you have to sometimes do is move the headline up to the top, take your picture, shrink it down, take your typeface of the headline, because sometimes the typeface means that long headline takes literally the whole page. And so no one can see anything else. So you oftentimes have to shrink down that headline. Sometimes you have to widen it up a little bit, and the size of the pictures. And sometimes you actually have to cut some copy. So if you've got a long description, you may have to cut it down to, instead of 3 bullet points, you may have to cut it down to a single sentence that describes it, or 2 bullet points or something like that. Cut if needed, but you got to be ruthless. You've got to make this work on mobile, and you can't size it to the mobile phones that are like a large thing that people can't actually put in their pocket. It's got to be a normal cell phone, like that.
Somewhere there in the middle.
Okay. All right. So my phone wants to talk to me. All right. So number 16, the other important one that I want you to pay attention to. It's vital that you get rid of all the extra junk on your landing pages. The testimonials, the about you section, the more the place where you give it some more destruction. Well, that's sort of what it's doing. More description. It's destructing your conversion rate. These are designed to sell page builders and actually hurt conversions most of the time. If you're not running ads, absolutely eliminate them. If you have a landing page that the only time that you're never going to send ad traffic to, eliminate them. Get rid of them entirely, because they almost surely will not increase your conversion rates. If you're running ads, add the minimum required for acceptance. And so I would choose one of those. Add it. They deny your ad. Okay? Add 2 of them. And just keep going until they actually accept it. Now, obviously, you need to test this every once in a while. Like 5% of the time, I will find a testimonial that actually increases conversion. The obverse of that, 95% of the time, they hurt your conversion. Test it, but my guess is you're going to find that all that junk is literally junk. And it doesn't help your conversion at all. All right, there you go. 16 things. Actually, I think it's 17, because number 8 was in there twice. How did I do that? Number 8 was in there twice. But do these 17 things, and you'll likely, I can't absolutely promise, because it all depends on how you execute it, you'll likely start seeing a significantly higher number and percentage conversion rate of opt-ins. What did I forget? Let me know in the comments. This is Don Crowther saying, just go do this stuff.